Hello, and welcome to the Portsmouth Art Skills Members Show. It is running from January 27th through March 15th at the Portsmouth Arts Guild in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. Our first entry is by Michael Benish. It's entitled 12 Meters Racing. It's in oil. It's $800. This is by Michael Benish as well. Ship Rock. Oil, $625. Michael Benish. Shangri-La. Oil, $375. William Leakis. Victorian woman watching sailboats from the shore. Acrylic, $285. William Leakis. Victoria woman and lady and two children watching sailboats from the shore. Acrylic, $125. William Leakis. Victorian lady watching sailboats from the shore. Acrylic, $125. This is by Penny Carrier. The title is Bristol Ferry Marshes. It's a watercolor and it's $350. Penny Carrier, Christmas in Nantucket, watercolor, $350. William Bowers, Jacaranda Trees in Sydney, Australia, acrylic, $200. William Bowers, A Street in Greece, acrylic, $200. William Bowers, The Carousel at Battleship Cove, acrylic, $225. Edward Huff, Waiting for Spring, watercolor, $300. Edward Huff, Low Tide, watercolor, $400. Edward Huff, Cape Bonavista, watercolor, $400. Wendy Barabee, A Quiet Walk, watercolor, $175. Wendy Barabee, Sunlit Boat, watercolor, $300. Wendy Barabee, Colors of Nature, pastel, $250. Susan Plume, Haystacks at Blovak, oil, $300. Susan Plume, Fields Beneath Mount Vento, oil, $300. Susan Plume, Duvasset at Domain Street Jacques, oil, $300. Patty Milton, Red Wagons, oil, $200. Patty Milton, Boatman on Lily Pad, oil, $200. Patty Milton, Blue Butterflies in Teapot. It's a paper collage. It's $500. This is by Lisa Bliss. William, Welcome to the Elms. Watercolor, $500. Lisa Bliss, Buster on the Beach. Watercolor, $525. Lisa Bliss, Dining In. Watercolor, $475. Gwen Fuller, Lighthouse in Penobscot, watercolor, $275. Gwen Fuller, Along the Maine Coast, watercolor, $275. Gwen Fuller, Newport Character, watercolor, $275. Judith Campbell, Poppies, watercolor, $50. Judith Campbell, Astromeria, watercolor, $100. Judith Campbell, Harmony, watercolor, $150. And this is by Ray Ethier, Like a Lady, wood sculpture, it's $900. Ray Ethier, Feligny, wood sculpture, $1,250. Ray Ethier, Wild Wings, wood sculpture, $750. David Sharp, Harbor Morning, watercolor, $150. David Sharp, Working in the Rain, watercolor, $150. David Sharp, Janet at the Dock, watercolor, $90. And this is by Susan Clemens. It's a watercolor and it is $140. Susan Clemens. Title is River. Watercolor, $300. Susan Clemens, Stormy Seas. Watercolor, $120. Leslie Morrissey. Title is Flying Jewel. Watercolor, $75. Leslie Morrissey, Blue Heron. Watercolor, $75. Leslie Morrissey, Forever in My Heart. Watercolor, $75. And this is by Marie King. Title is Moonset. Printmaking Porture, $100. This is by Marie King as well. Title is Daphne. Printmaking Solar Print. It's $125. This is by Sue DeSalt Edens. Title is Bewitched. Oil, $150. Sue DeSalt Edens. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. Oil, $100. Joseph Sturm. Snowy Owl. Oil, $100. Joseph Sturm. Newport Bridge in Moonlight. Oil, $100. Joseph Sturm. Harbor Boats at Sunset. Oil, $100. And this is by Didem Kokturk. Summer's Glow. Oil, $450. Didem Kokturk. Sandpiper Beach. Oil, $450. Mandy Howe. Aquidneck Land Trust. Deer and Field on Wapping Road. Acrylic, $350. Mandy Howe. Aquidneck Land Trust, Hayfield by St. Mary's Church, acrylic, $450. And this is by Kathy Parker. The title is Veggie Repose, watercolor, $200. Brett Paulina, Old San Juan Stroll. It's a digital image capture and it's $120. This is by Brett Paulina as well. If These Walls Could Talk. It's a digital image and it's $120. Brett Paulina, Milamo Spike, digital image capture, $120. This is by Eileen Paulina. The title is Phil, watercolor, $75. And this is by Mandy Howe, Aquidneck Land Trust on Seconic Greenway Trail, acrylic, $250. David Lecomte, 007, acrylic, $300. David Lecomte, Hesper and Luther Little, acrylic, $200. David Lecomte, title is Shadows Fall, acrylic, $150. Sheila Clark Lundy, Fishing Boats, acrylic, $250. Sheila Clark Lundy, Harbor in the Sunlight, acrylic, $250. Sheila Clark Lundy, Lion in the Blues, acrylic, $300. Lori Raposa, Mount Hope Bay Anchor, oil, $300. And this is by Lori Raposa as well. Aquini Clay Cliffs, Martha's Vineyard, oil, $275. Lori Raposa, Cassie at Martha's Vineyard Harbor, oil, $200. Jan Burling, Signs of Spring, oil, $125. Jan Burling, Espresso, photography, $125. Jan Burling, Phone Home, photography, $125. And this is by Paula DeSano Santos, Frazione di Montefalco, Italy, oil, $130. Christine Tartar, Forest, it's multimedia and it's $125. Christine Tartar, title is Icy, multimedia, $125. Gary Graham, Patuxent Harbor, watercolor, $400. Gary Graham, The Docks at State, watercolor, $250. Gary Graham, Still Life with Grapes, watercolor, $350. James Wilstonholme, title is Freedom, acrylic, $200. James Wilstonhome. Title is Seafoam, acrylic, $65. James Wilstonhome. Sailboat at Sunset, acrylic, $200. Jane Lavender. A Walk Through the Dunes, acrylic, $250. Jane Lavender. Seagrasses, acrylic, $150. Jane Lavender. Karen. Oil, $100. And this is by Sean David Berry. Title is Bend in Maple. It's wood sculpture, $250. Sean David Berry. She Dances, wood sculpture, $325. Sean David Berry. Title is Orange. Oil, $300. Erin Howe. Third Beach Road, watercolor, $650. Erin Howe. At the Cliffs, watercolor, $650. Beaver Tail by Erin Howe, watercolor, $650. Kathleen Terrell. Cherry Pie, oil, $400. This is entitled Party Cake. It's by Kathleen Terrell as well. Oil, $175. Carolyn Hall. The Well at Blythewald. Oil, $450. Jacqueline Johnson. Title is Peace. Acrylic, $200. Jacqueline Johnson. Newport Beach. Acrylic, $125. Jacqueline Johnson. Title is Sailboat. Acrylic, $100. This is by Susan Graham. Its title is Flowers. Acrylic, $125. Susan Graham. Vermont House. Acrylic, $125. Susan Graham. Deer in the Woods. Acrylic, $125. This is by Tina McCurdy. It's Chroma Converse Chucks, colored pencil, $200. Tina McCurdy. Making Guacamole, colored pencil, $200. Tina McCurdy. Making PBJ, colored pencil, $200. Eileen Coolidge. First Encounter, oil, $250. And our last entry is by Eileen Coolidge, Into the Woods, oil, $150. Thank you for viewing our show. If you have any questions, you can reach us at artistwelcome@portsmoutharts.org.